Hey, I'm Hollis, and welcome to the Friendly Fangirl podcast, where I nerd out on the films, shows, and video games that I encounter every week. Be sure to follow this podcast, and please follow my Twitter and blog at Hollis Films to follow my journey experiencing the entertainment industry's greatest stories. Beware of spoilers, you have been warned. Game of the week is last year's Game of the Year, Elden Ring. First of all, this is not a game I have personally played. I love gaming, but I suck at it. We all play games for different reasons. That's why I love the gaming industry. The industry itself has such a broad variety of games to choose from multiple platforms with multiple genres. No game is 100% the same. For me, I'm just looking for a good time, not a challenge. You'll never catch me playing Crash Bandicoot, or even Dark Souls or Elden Ring, any games like that. Though I am very much aware that these games are masterpieces, and Elden Ring is the game of the week because even though I'm too much of a scaredy cat to play it, I can't believe how amazing it is regardless. Now, world building. Dark Souls was okay, I guess. Bloodborne, sheesh, I love the world building and aesthetic of that game. But Elden Ring, it's god tier world building. This is a massive game, of course riddled with bosses and quests, but each area has extensive lore to it. One of my favorite places is the city by the tree with the dragon skeleton statue thing. It's insane. And the Hogwarts castle place is also super cool. The detail to every piece of architecture is exquisite. No inch is untouched. The graphics alone, wow. I mean, no place looks the same, and a different story can be told everywhere you go. When this game won Game of the Year, I was not surprised at all. Breath of the Wild, take a seat. Elden Ring is what every open world aspires to be. However, with the game being so massive, it does seem like it's hard to keep track of what you're doing. I mean, how do you even know where the next main quest is, or how many side missions you've started? It really just seems like people are just running around and just fighting things. I don't know. I just never understand the direction of the game. But anyways, so while combat is a miss for me because of the kind of difficulty it has, I just know that I would not enjoy it. I definitely recommend it if these are the kind of games you do enjoy. I will leave several reviews in the description. This is just my recommendation from someone who has exclusively viewed the game. And if you want to know more, definitely take it from people who devoted part of their life to this incredible piece of gaming art. Bonsoir! Mads is in leather. What a great opening! Living large and eating good in France. It's only cannibalism if we're equal. So, Season 3, we have made it. And this final season premiere was all about Mads, and I was not complaining in the slightest. We then see Will, who is on the hunt for Hannibal with his illusion of Abigail by his side. You just want to give the guy a hug. He's just so sad. There's so much to unpack when he said, "I forgive you" to Hannibal under the church. This is the season when he really starts to see a part of him did want to go with Hannibal last season. That part of him feels guilty for what happened to Abigail as well. There's a side to Will that only Hannibal sees and accepts, that he is both afraid of and yearning for. I'm just tapping the surface here with this concept, but I just love how complex Will has become over the course of the series. I also love to see how Alana and Jack fared after the incident. Jack mercy killed his wife, and Alana became an ice-cold lesbian, allying with that verger freak. That's a whole story on its own. Jack followed Will to Italy, and it really didn't take him long to reunite with Hannibal, and another epic battle ensues following the crazy bows out or in moment. Jack and Hannibal confrontations are just the best. Will and Hannibal finally reunite themselves after Will's interesting vacation to Lecter Manor, and a lot was going through my head. Especially as things escalated quickly, as in half an hour later, Hannibal started sawing Will's skull to feed his brains to Jack. But in a classic episode 6 turn of events, they find themselves at the Verger estate in the episode's cliffhanger. And episode 7. I don't even know how to describe it. I find it hilarious that I find Mason so disgusting while I'm also over here swooning over Hannibal. I mean, Hannibal's not insane, but wow, Mason is just crazy. Episode 7 is definitely one of the best episodes of the series. I loved how much Hannibal enjoyed himself. It was like he wanted to be there more than anyone. He loves everything about his captivity. It's so great. That scene with Hannibal and Alana, though. Could I have ever understood you? Nope. Basically telling her that Hannibal and Will understand each other in a way no one else could. That's important, guys. Alana told him to save Will and released him to go to work, and he definitely put maximum effort. I just want to point out that from the moment Hannibal drugged Will to the moment he was about to get his face sliced off, Will looks so defeated, and it was just so sad to look at him. I'm not gonna look for you. I'm not gonna miss you. Goodbye, Hannibal.
I want you to know exactly where I am, and where you can almost find me.
He surrendered. He didn't lose. He's always right where he wants to be. Now, I understand this part of the season was from Hannibal and stole most elements from a story that really belongs to Clarice Starling. I want to put it out there that I think there was a way to bring Clarice in anyways. The Bates Motel made the whole last season about the events of Psycho, put their own twist on it, but still made it work authentically for the original movie as well as the world they developed on the show. I don't know how Hannibal would have gone on with Starling if the show were to continue, but I'd be able to ignore all of these source material changes so long as they stayed true to the characters and the essence of the originals, while also being creative. 3 years later, Hannibal is living comfortably, and so is Will. But it's Red Dragon time.
This is my design.
Will Graham is back.
Hello, Dr. Lecter.
I loved that reunion conversation as every shot of one person showed the clear reflection of the other. The show will be doing this a lot, won't it?
You didn't die enough.
Seriously, I can't believe Freddie Lowndes is still alive.
You called us murder husbands.
Bruh! Some other iconic moments leading to the end of the series. It was so satisfying to see Hannibal in his iconic mask after all this time.
Think about me, Will.
Hannigram fans have more than enough moments to gush about.
Any rational society would either kill me or give me my books.
Hannibal swallowing Chilton's lip lives in my mind rent-free.
You made a bargain for Will's life, and then I spun you gold.
Yeah, I totally said
all magic comes with a price.
after that line. Before I discuss the final moments, I just want to point out that we don't see Hannibal kill as many times as we know he has killed. I'd say we witnessed less than 10 deaths in total, while we've seen more victims than that. I don't know if this is a weird censorship thing, because we've definitely seen plenty of gruesome deaths. To me, it's kind of like The Last Airbender. We didn't see Ozai's face for 2 whole seasons, just a silhouette and his voice. That was very intentional, and it made him more menacing. I like to think that this was Hannibal's goal as well, but I don't know. Okay. When I describe any series finale, there are 2 words, exclusively 2, in my vocabulary: satisfying and unsatisfying. The big series finales I have come across last year were Mr. Robot and Breaking Bad, and those were as solid as series finales can be. Satisfaction only lies in the idea that the characters received justice and how their story was told from start to finish. The show was called Hannibal, but the show was about Will's relationship with Hannibal. This relationship was all that mattered in the satisfactory judgment. Those last 10 minutes were crucial as Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter were confronted by the Tooth Fairy, or Red Dragon, whatever he wants to, whatever he is. These 10 minutes alone dictated whether the show was perfect from start to finish. I realized during my post-series finale meditation following the credits, Hannibal is unique because the show itself doesn't fall in line with my satisfactory scale. Rather, this relationship that we followed for 3 seasons brought a new word to my dictionary: poetic. Will and Hannibal killed this man, and it felt like I was watching art. They used Love Crime by Susie rather than some epic classical orchestration, which I think was more for Will, while also representing his relationship with Hannibal. Will's final hit was the same wound Hannibal inflicted on him in season 2, while Hannibal the cannibal bit out his throat, and the self-proclaimed Red Dragon bled out with wings behind him. Hannibal and Will embrace. Hannibal begins his sentence with the word "see," ending the series with a word that kind of started the series.
This is all I ever wanted for you, Will. For both of us. It's beautiful.
Oh, the dawn, a blood red setting sun.
Sploosh! They plummet to the sea. That, I don't know what else to say. That was poetry, guys. Those final lines of dialogue after this incredible sequence were everything that the show was about. Hannibal was not about Hannibal. It was about Will's relationship with him. And the phrase, falling off the edge, symbolizes Will's relationship, sanity, and morality. It's always fun to dissect Hannibal Lecter as a character, but this show, through the use of Hannibal, dissected Will Graham in a way that I don't think has ever been done before. He had to think like a killer to catch them, while always on the verge of falling off the cliff, becoming one. In the end, he fell off that cliff with the very person that wanted him to do just that. And of all of the patients he tried to twist and manipulate, Will was the lamb to Hannibal's god. Does Hannibal love him? Well, he thinks of Will as an equal who understands him just as much as he understands Will. I'd say that's his definition of love. I have my full series review and final thoughts on my blog, Hollis Films. Hollis Films. Shameless plug. Please go check it out. Movie of the week is Antman Quantumania. I don't know the full title. Quantumania Antman movie. Alright, so anyways, I don't know why it took me a while to get to this movie. I love Ant-Man, and the multiverse plots in the MCU right now is all I have interest in, so I'm surprised I didn't see it, like, opening week. So let me bring up a few points, starting with the fact that we're in the quantum realm within, like, the first 20 minutes, so no time wasted there. Ant-Man's Strange World Star Wars adventure begins. This is what I hoped for when it came to the quantum realm, with all these creatures that defy any sort of concept of real-world science, along with the fact that it's a whole other universe within a universe, like the Who's and Whoville kind of thing. Civilization and culture. This was all definitely a highlight for me. Next, I must address MODOK. I literally said at some point MODOK would not work in the MCU in my Avengers Assemble blog and or podcast. And I stand by that. Like, I guess it would only work in an Ant-Man movie about the quantum realm. And they made him that one guy from the first Ant-Man movie, so I guess keeping past Ant-Man films relevant? I hate everything about MODOK, except his death scene. I genuinely laughed. It was as ridiculous as he is, and Scott dropped the line, "A lot has happened today," and I just... yeah, that line pretty much summed up the movie. Now, I don't want to talk about Kang too much because I've only seen him once in his one episode in Loki when the episode premiered. I vaguely remember his goal, something about an army of himself or something. Big Rick and Morty vibes. I don't remember. But Jonathan Majors is such a joy to watch. His portrayal is top-notch, and I don't know too much about Kang, but from when I have seen him, he always seemed like the undefeatable type. In that one, in Avengers Assemble, Captain America only defeated him by leaving him in the Jurassic period. He didn't actually beat him in a fight or anything. But here comes Hank and his battalion of ants, I guess. I think the writers weren't sure how Ant-Man and company could defeat a foe such as Kang. So they made this work, but whatever. So overall thoughts? Well, okay. I did enjoy Doctor Strange and Thor last year to some extent, but oof, they were rough. MCU just hasn't been the same since Endgame, and it has shown. Ant-Man falls in line with that, but honestly, it's not as bad as Strange or Thor. I guess it would be like overall better than out of the three, maybe? I don't know. It's not my favorite. It didn't even feel like an Ant-Man movie. It felt like more like a filler episode or something. Hank seemed more like comic relief. Hope was a total side character. I did like Cassie more than I thought I would, and it's cool that we got some Quantum Realm backstory to Janet. Paul Rudd is Paul Rudd, though. He's always great. Quantumania, it's okay. I'm excited for Loki, though. The MCU shows so far, well, the ones that I have actually watched, because I didn't watch all of them, the shows have yet to disappoint me, so I am ready for Loki Season 2. Alright, let's go back to the Hannibal subject again. As I have now completed Hannibal, it only seems fair that this week's Star Award is to the man himself, Mads Mikkelsen. Mads was born and raised in Copenhagen along with his big brother Lars, who is also a big Danish actor. Mads grew up as a gymnast and studied ballet in the 80s, where he became a professional dancer through the 90s. He didn't take up acting until the late 90s when he starred in his first films, The Pusher, Bleeder, and Wild Side, with fellow Danish star Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. Mads started the new century with a new career in his 30s, and he was only getting started. Mads starred in films like Shake It All About, a gay comedy, Flickering Lights, a gangster film, and Open Hearts, a film that earned him Robert and Bodil nominations, which is like the Danish Oscars and Golden Globes, basically. He also reprised his role, Tony, in the sequel, Pusher 2. 2003 and 2004 brought some interesting projects. Mads starred in what seems like a non-musical version of Sweeney Todd, The Green Butchers, in which the main characters don't know what they do with a corpse, and they just cook it and sell it, and then the business becomes a big hit because cannibalism sells.
Hannibal the Cannibal.
Right after, Mads played one of the Knights of the Round Table in the film King Arthur, co-starring Hugh Dancy. So, yeah. Mads was the star in all 4 seasons of the hit Danish show Unit 1 from 2000 to 2004. Mads received more Robert and Bodil nominations for his role in the film Prague, and he was also in After the Wedding, which was nominated for an Oscar for Best Foreign Film. Now we see the beginnings of a career for real, as Mads made headlines as the iconic Bond villain in Daniel Craig's first Bond film, Casino Royale. Mads might be typecasted as a good villain actor, but hey, he just knows what he's doing. And the world knew it with Casino Royale. Mads appeared in action films Clash of the Titans as Draco and Valhalla Rising as One Eye. He was in the film Flame and Citron, which also saw his brother in a minor role. Moving to the 2010s, Mads was in another foreign film Oscar hit with Royal Affair. He had a main role in Charlie Countryman, which also co-starred Shia LaBeouf, Evan Rachel Wood, and Rupert Grint. He starred as Michael Kohlhaas in Age of Uprising, which I'm only mentioning because I feel like I see so many pictures of him from this movie. He was in the Danish comedy Men and Chicken, which he plays a dorky-looking character with a mustache. Now, I can't talk about Mads Mikkelsen without bringing up this film, The Hunt. Robert and Bodil nominations for him, foreign film Oscar nom for the movie, number 94 in IMDb's top 250 movies list. This is definitely on my list to watch. I gotta know what all the fuss is about. This brings us to the man, the myth, the legend.
Hannibal the Cannibal.
If you followed my journey with Hannibal, then I don't need to explain on how much I love this show. Mads was the reason I had to watch it in the first place, and he absolutely did not disappoint. He was a Bond villain, that was cool, but then he portrayed the Hannibal Lecter, and now look, he has portrayed a villain in pretty much like every cinematic universe. He was the villain in Doctor Strange. He was that one dude from Star Wars Rogue One. He was the Grindelwald in the latest Fantastic Beasts film, which I'll bring up again in a moment. He was Cliff from Death Stranding, who wasn't exactly a villain, but seemed like one for most of the game until you find out who his character really is. Still really cool. He definitely got my Game Awards vote that year for Best Performance. It's Death Stranding is a little underrated, I think. And Indiana Jones is right around the corner too. And guess what? He might be typecasted as a villain actor, but honestly, I'm glad he is. He's so great to watch. Finishing up on his latest projects, Mads was the lead in the Danish film Another Round, which is yet another foreign film that made it big in the Oscars as well as the BAFTA Awards. He grew out a beard for his role in The Riders of Justice and also appeared in Chaos Walking with Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland. And last year he portrayed Gellert Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore. As a Johnny Depp fan and a massive Wizarding World fan, Depp's departure was conflicting, but I'll admit, I got excited because I'm also a Mads Mikkelsen fan, and his casting leveled out the dilemma in my heart, because if anyone was going to replace Depp, it had to be Mads. And when it was all said and done, he did a pretty darn good job and brought the Hannibal Lecter approach to the character, which just worked. I wish it was him from the beginning. We could have all been spared the disappointment. With Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on the horizon, Matt's career is still going strong. This man can't do any wrong. Pretty easy on the ice, too. And I have no shame in admitting I am just a little obsessed. That's it for this week. Again, follow me on Twitter or leave a comment, and let me know what you've been fangirling over this week. Thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you again next week.